All right. Welcome welcome all to episode 59 of the Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast. I'm your host, spnanon. I would like to use Maya's butt as a pillow
I'm nmasp.
in my bed.
Yeah, I'm
It would require a very large bed unless she laid sideways, but we'd make it work.
Make a 2B alt for Maya. Anyway, I'm nmasp. I'm the co-host. I work on a wide variety of characters to meet our diversity initiatives. And with that, I will introduce our good buddy BuddyTibo, to the call. So Tibo, say hello. Tell us about the characters you're working on, what's going on in your life, things like that.
So BuddyTibo 2, I was on here quite a bit ago. I am the creator of Twisted Fate. I'm listed under Lux. I kind of was just more of a coach than anything on Lux. I'm the creator of Misfortune, and I am now the creator of the current testing edition, Ahri. Mostly all from League of Legends, funnily enough, despite me not playing the game anymore. Fucking round of applause for me. And really my only current projects right now is just actual SPNatI projects is working on Ahri, despite the fact I haven't pushed an update in a bit, and just trying to get her as far along in testing before throwing her to sponsorship, because I want her to be seen by as many people as I can right now.
Oh yeah, nice. You both have experience with League of Legends, right?
Fucking hate League of Legends. Terrible game.
Yeah, everyone hates League of Legends, even the people who play League of Legends.
I'd rather just legitimately cut myself than play League of Legends. It's just awful. Sorry for those of you that are struggling with self-harm. I mean that, and anyway, get good. So let's
maybe just cut that out.
Maybe not. It's just
no, they just censor that, so it sounded like he said he fucked himself.
It's true. I do it all the time. Anyway. Go. So today we have a couple of characters on our main roster, including 2 art updates, which is really exciting. It's always a really great experience when a character transitions from the testing table to the roster, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy them for a long time to come. So our first main roster character from the my favorite political body of Dang It Ron Paul is Mikan Sumiki, named Orange. She's meek, paranoid, and easily intimidated. She's an excellent nerd. I was about to say witch, and I'm like, wow, I've got a really weird, fucked up sense of healing abilities. But long story short, she's on the main roster. We'll introduce her. Tibo, you'll go ahead and give us your opinion on the various characters first. I'll go second, and then spnanon will sum us up at the end. So what do you think about Mikan?
So Mikan, the first thing I noticed when I saw that she was on our list was I thought she hit main a hot while ago, to be honest. I remember I played her a lot when she first came out. I haven't gotten to play a lot of her recently. I got to play a little bit for this. My biggest takeaway that I've really liked about Mikan is the fact that she's your kind of ENF type of feel, kind of flustered, shy gal. But it's hard to describe.
Was there a shy gal in SPNatI?
Hey, let's go. I'd be down for that. But
what's up?
Shy gals from fucking Mario.
You ever seen those?
What? No.
The femme shy guys, basically.
Yeah.
I love Shy Guy, but I don't know what you're
Shy gal.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
I don't know what you expect.
Is this like a dives thing? I'm surprised this is not a dives thing.
He's probably done one.
Okay.
I don't remember what the artist that made them big was, but
I love dives though. Anyway.
But yeah, she's she's kind of your typical, not your typical shy, embarrassed girl. In a way I can't put into words. I don't know. When I was playing her, I'm she felt like a fresh new take on the ENF trope. I had to be a bit careful playing with her though, because I'm only halfway through her source. I didn't know how many spoilers was in that in her character. So I kind of skimmed through her character just a little bit, just to avoid ruining the game, because I genuinely love the source. And she was one character from Danganronpa 2 specifically that I was pretty glad to see chosen. The only one I want more is Nekomaru, which is just because big beefy lad. Those are my main thoughts, though.
Yeah, I'm personally glad that she made it to the main roster. I like Mikan a lot. I do agree that she's an interesting take on like the ENF content. I think she's like so fragile sometimes. It's a little much for me. But I think it's a really interesting addition. I think she's a really interesting addition to the roster. I'm glad she made it on. It's also just really interesting. Like I really like seeing kind of like the archetypes that people play into over time. And Latka has done also Levitain, and it's just really interesting to see how these are, these are balanced against each other. I really hope that she continues to get updates. I think at around 1,300 lines, like that's fine, but she's really cute, and she has she brings something really interesting to the game. I'd like to see more from her over time. And those are my thoughts. SPNanon.
On the SPNatI Discord server, we recently established a little bit of a Team Fortress 2 group going on, and I gotta say, it's nice to have a medic in the game.
Like, I also love that she is the source of the medic tag. That's great.
Does she?
Yeah, she's the medic tag. I mean, medic is like for doctors too.
Like that's the kind of thing, like the sort of like medical profession, that archetype, like you said before, it's something you can get a lot of mileage out of because it's kind of like body adjacent in the same way like Wii Fit Trainer sort of has a different approach to that, but it kind of leads to the same thing.
Agreed.
Bodily knowledge.
I think like Mari, who we talk about in a little bit, is kind of like her nurse costume has a lot of things that I would just suggest like Latka just go and steal those. Like it's all good.
Mikan is the kind of character that sometimes I just feel bad playing against because this poor girl is so eager to please and so like self-effacing. It's like you don't need to work this hard for me. It's okay. Yeah,
the Mikan darkness table is going to be fucking hilarious.
I want to tell her that she's valid and give her a hug. Because like God, you don't need to be such a doormat.
I swear, if she's a doormat, she just steps on herself more than others step on her, though, from some of the lines I saw.
Yeah, but like I said when she came on testing, she generally does a pretty good job of making it funny instead of like awkward and uncomfortable. Just going that extra step, sort of crossing the line twice to the point where her like prostrating herself for you just comes across as kind of funny. So yeah, generally a good presence on any table.
Yeah, good character. Keep working on her. She's really cute. And our next character is the wonderful Cagliostro. I have strong opinions about this. BuddyTibo, you go ahead and go first to soften the blow.
Don't you play fighting games as well? Have you played this one?
Me? No, I'm actually like...
He plays Skullgirls. I don't know if he's ever played like the Grand Blue fantasy fighting game. I posted a gift.
I do play a lot of fighting games. Grand Blue is like one of the few I haven't played just for the sheer fact of I like to buy my games on sale. And Grand Blue never goes on sale. And if it is on sale, it's maybe 5%. Like that game is always going to cost you $60 and it makes me cry a bit. That is so unfortunately I have not actually played that game that she's from.
Grand Blue Fantasy by Nintendo.
But thoughts on Cag. Honestly, I'm biased because she hits so many of my like buddy bait things on my list. For instance, small gremlin, shit eater, fucking raw egotistical power. The only thing she needs is like a pair of cat ears and a cat tail, and like I will be on my fucking knees. Like she is right there for me. I really like the we've had like some egotistical characters, we've had some cocky characters. I feel like Cag just takes that and fucking runs with it, and I kind of enjoy it. I kind of really like that. Just there's certain things where it's like I sit there, I read it, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am a little shit. Maybe Cag is right. And like, even though she went really far with that, I never really felt annoyed or like felt annoyed with what she said or was like, damn, that's a bit much. I just very much, most of the lines I either took the blow like, okay, that's funny, or damn, she may be right. Never really like, okay, fuck you, Cag. I never really had that feeling. And the art as well. I really like it. Kind of hit the original feel of not Grand Blue Versus, because that's a different game from the source, but from actual Grand Blue Fantasy, which is like the gacha game that everything started from, I believe. I don't know much on Grand Blue myself, though.
My feelings on Cagliostro are well known, mostly by the sheer volume of targets I push in a direction. I think the one thing that I'd like to see more of is more targeted lines towards sucrose. That's all. Otherwise, like I actually ran into like a Cagliostro. Like I ran into the most frustrated Cagliostro cosplayer this weekend, like completely unironically. And I was at ASEN, which is like the Anime Midwest convention. And the cosplayer was like, I'm so tired of everyone thinking I'm like a Genshin Impact character. And I'm just like, well.
That's exactly what I thought she was when she came on.
I can see it so well. That is great.
So like, there were many
like a cutesy little girl who's like 5 foot nothing.
There were many
long blonde hair and like a round face. She's a Genshin Impact character.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, like, this weekend there was like probably a good 40% of the cosplayers at this convention were Genshin Impact people, and like another 15% were like My Hero cosplayers. Long story short, it was a very fun convention, but it was really nice to be like, oh my god, you're not a Genshin Impact character, you're Cagliostro. And I'm pretty sure the cosplayer was having a great time to be recognized in that way. And I think Cagliostro in SPNatI is very good. I really enjoyed the character. And I think that's like really the beauty of this game, is not so much like the, oh my god, waifus, haha. It's just like, waifus, haha, but you learned something along the way.
It expands your horizon.
Anyway,
if you allow it to.
Yeah, anyway, Cagliostro is really good. Alias, please keep targeting with her. She's really good. I really enjoy her. That's
you can learn so much and find so many new things you love from strip poker out of the inventory if you don't play the Ruby and Doki Doki tables constantly.
It's true.
And nothing else.
Fun fact, I tried to get a tally of like all of the different characters that me and Napsu worked on, and we got most of them, which was pretty nice.
See, not everything has to be the same. You could pick other characters. You could even read their dialogue instead of just picking them with Chara and mashing through the text to get their collectibles.
Why would anyone do that?
Did you know they say things? It's not it's not just the Doki Doki characters.
There's dialogue in this game?
Yeah, who knows? This is why I don't put collectibles on my characters, for the purity of the art. If you play my characters, you know it's because you love them. And also because I'm lazy.
Can't think of anything.
It's also because I'm lazy and quality control is hard. So,
I personally don't really care about collectibles. I would put more of them on if there were other things that I didn't care to do more first. But also, nothing's really striking me as particularly interesting gameplay-wise because there is no fucking gameplay.
In theory,
what can you even do that's not just random?
In theory, I like collectibles because it's just like, look at this thing I hoard myself out for in terms of interactions. Go do it. In practice, I don't
there's like play this character with pirates, which, okay, but I don't really want to tell them who to play them with.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, spnanon, what do you think about Cagliostro?
So is it true that like the current like trendy waifu archetype is either like 8 foot tall muscle girl or like 5 foot tall gremlin, smug gremlin?
I mean, mine's always been smug gremlin.
I believe this was like a 4chan thesis at one point. 4chan thesis was basically everyone's either going to get ADD or like autism. And that feels quite accurate for you either get 8 foot tall muscle girls or you get, tiny gremlins. And
are you going to excuse me, are you going to clarify that statement?
Absolutely not. Anyway, moral of the story, absolutely not. Moral of the story, Cagliostro, very, very gremlin. Wow. Much sass.
if we're allowed to just go on a fucking political tangent, I don't know.
I'm not going on a political tangent.
There's definitely the constant competition for attention could definitely get to people's ADD. But like, I think to grow as a society past the point where we currently are, we need to like accept that social media was just a terrible fucking idea.
I think like the best thing, like, Hot Take Tuesdays is like the best thing Elon Musk could have done is just bankrupt himself and just like burn Twitter to the ground. Like Twitter not existing is just better for society.
I mean, apparently he might be bankrupting himself.
I mean,
but someone else would just make a new Twitter is the problem.
No, but
we have to acknowledge
What you do is you enforce rigorous patent law. Anyone tries to make a Twitter clone, you fucking sue them into oblivion to stop Twitter from coming back into existence.
And then you bankrupt yourself again.
Like, have you ever like spent a lot of time around old people? Have you ever listened to them? Like, all they ever do is like talk about other people and the minutia of their lives all the time. Because
I don't think that's true.
Because in the 40s, like that was your only source of entertainment. So that's what they do all day. That mentality has just like affected their entire society.
I mean, I think that's like the problem, right? Is like they say that anyway. Whatever. Moral of the story is like uninstall.
It's like, oh, this is cool. In 2005, everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. We'll all be interconnected and we'll be able to hear everyone's thoughts all the time. And it turns out that's a terrible fucking idea.
Do you remember when it was like lack of access is the source of ignorance in society? It's just like, no, actually, people are just terrible and democracy is wrong. So
it turns out you don't need to hear what everyone on the fucking planet has to say about everything all the time, always, constantly, within 8 fucking seconds of it happening. As if they know anything about what they're talking about.
Well,
anyway, Cagliostro is pretty good.
Yeah, Cagliostro is great. I really like her. Let's go on to our next character.
It's a shame that she got banned from Twitter.com.
I would love to see
for claiming to be the superior race.
I would really like to see like a shit post, Cool Cat get on this of the different characters' Twitter personalities. Like I can see Sucrose just accidentally retweeting like a fuckload of hentai at some point and being like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry," and then just like I don't know. I'm just like bullshitting at this point.
Kind of like those pictures where people like post what a texting group chat would be between different like casts and stuff.
Yeah, I'm super there. All right, so our next character is Mari, not to be confused with Mari or Marinette. Mari is.
I feel bad. I feel like I should have said something more substantial about Cagliostro, but
it's fine.
She doesn't really do anything wrong.
No, Cagliostro is great.
She is the substance.
The whole like small smug gremlin thing is done very well, but it's just not my wheelhouse at all.
I gotta say the weirdest experience I've had at a convention in the last 5 years, I want to clarify, is talking to the person who made Omori at the Omori booth and realizing like I didn't know anything about this except from what I'd learned from SPNatI. And it was fine. So moral of the story is I'm not gonna have a lot of feedback. The thing that I want to say is basically like Omori is not for me, but I think Vision did a really great job with Mari, and that it was a sufficiently well-versed subject that I was able to converse on it as if I knew what I was talking about, which is about the best you can do. So, Mari's good. I really enjoy her.
I think Cagliostro is a good example of like a really strong like themed character. Like they got one particular shtick of like the smug alchemist gremlin, and she goes in hard on it to the point where she never really changes. She's just in love with herself, and she literally masturbates to herself.
Yep.
Which is funny, but I don't know. I tend to go for characters that are a little more grounded, and have those kind of moments of introspection. It's like I might be kind of a dick. she's just smug to the end.
Yeah. So back to Mari though. Like I think Mari is really good. I think I would say she's arguably the most improved character in
SPNatI. Most what?
Most improved.
Oh, back when before when she was just
I mean, we dunked the fuck out of Mari like on her first call, like with reason, but she's come a long way. I think she's really, really excellent. I would like it if Viz continued to develop her in terms of like targeted lines, because I think that's really where she excels. I think like for those of you that are kind of viewing the cast and sort of are either new developers or developers in the community, Viz really embraces the character of Mari as this like casual seductress. She's not like a literal demon succubus. She's not, you know, a secret pervert. She's just like is what she is. And I think he did a really good job portraying her. And I hope that if you're trying to write some naughty lines, go review her stuff, as they are very, very good.
Is there anyone who found this cast that was like, oh wow, there are characters besides the Doki Doki girls?
Back to the chat.
If you're one of them, comment.
I went on.
Yeah, if you're one of them, go ahead and comment. You know, Mari, the sixth, the Doki.
Is there an overlap on that? Like,
I think we take a very interesting
subreddit for like the Doki Doki strip game, and somehow you made it this far into the podcast episode.
Is there like a hentai podcast subreddit? I gotta admit, like
hentai podcasts in general,
dude, it was actually pretty crazy. Like it's really interesting to see hentai at these like anime conventions. Like it's a lot more open than I really expected it to be, but like slightly obfuscated. But it would be like, wow, that sure is Mari Setogaya right there on that body pillow.
There is
okay.
I mean that's how like dojins get circulated. Is literally the big comic conventions, and they
dude, that was crazy. No, that was like the most baffling thing. I'm like, oh, there's physical dojins, and I'm like, part of me is like, well, of course there are.
Yeah, they print out like 100 copies or whatever, and they just sell them around. And as long as they don't get too big, then the copyright holders don't really care. They just keep everything, you know, like on a low profile.
I was gonna say the one time I went to an anime convention, I bought like there's these mystery bags, and I'm a gambling addict, hence my Twisted Fate addiction. And fucking I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna grab this 18 plus adult grab bag, and to my surprise, I should have expected it, there's just 3 hentai DVDs in there. I'm like, oh shit, I guess I actually own hentai now. So like the cons don't fuck around. They'll gladly give you porn.
Yep, I feel you. So what do you feel about Mari Classic not being confused with Marinette?
My thoughts is, as you said, fucking prime, and I mean prime horny content from Mari. Like there's some lines that make me sit here and go, goddamn. And then like she hit main with not 1, not 2, but 3 ults, which is both a good and a bad. The bad was that was probably one of the things that kept her in testing for so long, but good because God, do we have characters with that? Any other character with that many ults yet?
I don't know. I think there's a couple characters with a lot of them, but I also think that it's like my suggestion, and this is just kind of a rules thing. If I were still a mod, would be like you can't have an alt costume in your actual main roster.
I understand that completely.
I'm sorry. I don't mean that in like a bad way. Like the level of effort it takes to a good alt and get them on the main roster is like comparable. But
it can drain you to the point where you don't put them on main anymore. Like you lose your drive, and I know that from trying to check out Twisted Fate's getting all of his posing done for his Valentine's costume when he was still on testing. Like that was like holy fuck. And I just did the posing, not even the art. But yeah, like still they're good alts all around, even if they were put on during testing. Like they all come with lines, which I know you're a big advocate for that, spnanon. You probably are too, nmasp. But I know I remember when I released my Twisted Fate one, I specifically got comments that there was not a lot of new lines with it.
I don't think I've ever made an alt costume on any of my characters, actually.
The only reason Maya has one is that Phonebox reached out to me. Is like, hey, I'll do all the work. It's like, all right, cool.
Phonebox is the fucking most based person. Like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
The based Phonebox.
Anyway.
The only other thing I really have about Mary is fucking I curse you, Viz, a bit for this because there's a few times where I've like gone through like thinking about Mary. I'm like,
I do have a criticism.
There's a few times where I'd be like, damn, why is Why am I thinking NTR ain't as bad as it is sometimes with her?
I think the thing with Mari is I work with a woman named Mari who has like exact same spelling, and I'm like, is it Mary? Is it Marie? Is it Mari? And it's just like every meeting I go to with her, someone calls her by a different name, and I'm just like, I need to not work with this person. But she's like, anyway, very nice
Mari,
individual.
we've got Mari, we've got Marinette, we've got Ahri. What other R's do we got?
Mary OC.
Oh yeah, there's Mary.
Nostalgia Mary.
Jesus.
Oh God. All right, Maria, probably. All right.
I don't think we have a Maria.
Yet.
But yeah, those are my main thoughts.
Next character.
Also, yeah, we have the other Mari as well.
Yeah.
So, as usual, I like to just browse the 4chan archives that I can find for any mentions of SPNatI and its characters. So, because Mari is from a relatively recent, I don't want to say flavor of the month, but pretty recently released popular game like Omori, she got some attention in its generals, and someone pointed out the SPNatI version of her, and he said his post was basically to the effect of, so this bitch dies in like the first 10 minutes. So I have to know, is she as big of a slut in this game as she is in SPNatI? And yeah, holy hot damn, is she horny? Which, I mean, if you're gonna work with a character who's basically a posthumous character, she's dead the whole time. Spoilers. I haven't played the game, but I'm pretty sure that's spoilers that she died. And if you're gonna write a character from that, and there's not a lot to work with, I mean, it's a porn game, so it's hardly the worst avenue to take to just make her fucking horny as fuck and flirt with the player and everyone else. He did give some justification for it about how she likes being sort of in control of others' reactions, so if she can take control in that way, then that sort of gives her a leg up in the situation. That makes her feel more comfortable, which kind of makes me wonder how much of the flirting is genuine. That kind of overly aggressive flirting is not something I necessarily go for either, especially coming from just sort of like a normal looking anime schoolgirl. But she has definitely found an audience, and there are a number of creators anyway who will attest to how she really gets their gears turning. So I can't really say it was a bad decision. And it was, I mean, even if you go way off the deep end into horny territory of like Moon, well, Moon was at least memorable. And Mari doesn't go that far. So, like, she still feels like a real person, sort of. Again, I have no fucking idea how it matches the source material at all. But yeah, she's got that horny element to her without going too crazy with it. Like what are the characters that she has like a little more in-depth conversations with? Because I didn't really find any.
What are the deeper conversations she has? I think like she targets a lot of characters in depth. Or sorry, she targets like a lot of characters. Like I know she targets Adrian with a lot of lines. Oh right, she has like a lot of lines with Senko about a very touchy subject.
Yeah, I know. We have a lot planned with Ahri, but I have a lot planned with a lot of people with Ahri. Shifty eyes. But like stuff with how they both are very much about gaining control, but Ahri has the actual ability to do that and stuff like that. But I know like Viz is very passionate about making a lot of deeper connections with the character, because like this is basically like Viz, like from what I've seen, this is Viz's pet right here. Like
it's the character he's worked the hardest on and the most consistently.
Mm-hmm. And like most of the time, I don't hear much complaining about him like when he works on her.
It's just hard for me to target schoolgirls because I'm just like, yeah, on our last mission we had to execute 3 prisoners who tried to escape anyway. How was your piano lessons?
Pretty good. Not gonna lie, it was better than whatever you did.
No, that sounds like a perfect segue.
Is it? Who's next? Let's see.
Hilda.
Hilda. How many prisoners has Hilda executed and then gone back to class and like fucked
everyone? No, Hilda is.
Sorry, I don't know
sucking some cock behind the lockers after splitting my enemies' heads open on the battlefield with
I want to be as direct with this as I can. Like, I love Hilda, and apparently she is now the most highest lined Fire Emblem character in the game. So
wait, really?
Yeah, apparently.
Holy shit!
I have really enjoyed targeting her with Natsuki, Adrian, and Leon.
Cox in combat.
She's good. She's an incredibly enjoyable character.
Can you imagine Hilda's like Instagram?
Yeah, I'm there for it. But like, I love Hilda. Hilda's just absolutely excellent. Great job, Clockwork. I hope you continue to work on her for some time. Tibo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still recovering from Cox in combat.
If you want my characters to relate to you have to fucking kill people.
I mean, fair.
But not be weird about it. You know, it's just a job.
It's just a job. It's a hobby. Yeah, so Hilda, I honestly was kind of in the boat of the Hilda train from the start because I really liked playing. I liked Three Houses. It's like the second Fire Emblem I've ever played. I know I'm still a Fire Emblem baby. I really liked the kind of chill, real vibe she has. It's not like the as I was just talking up like how much I love Gremlins earlier, but I kind of like how she's not the typical. Is it called Ojo-sama? The ohoho, like the fucking. Yeah, she's not the typical Ojo-sama that like you clearly very easily could have taken her.
Dance Fire Emblem. Okay.
I also really did like the kind of innocence thing, like I don't know anything about poker. Ooh. I'm just a little girl. I don't know what poker is. Ooh, like that kind of stuff. And then just
what's this? Notices your bulge.
That's one thing I want to get back to with Fate because they both kind of do the same thing. But she like fakes in an innocent way. Fate just kind of chills, lays back, just like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna see how this goes at first. And honestly, like out of the Three Houses cast, I think Hilda is just the most fucking, just the best looking character out of the Three Houses cast. The second for me isn't even in SPNatI because people are too scared to add Manuela. I need my alcoholic MILF in SPNatI, please. But yeah, like overall, Hilda's fun and big titties make me happy. So that's a double win.
I have very much enjoyed targeting Hilda because she slips right into that little niche of like schoolgirl, but like combat schoolgirl, who's like a total like slut Stacy that sleeps around but also fucking murders people.
The best of both worlds. The Hannah Montana of murder.
And what I mean by that, like, is she's just like, so many characters are, you know, they're pure as snow. They are untouched virgins, which I understand why that's appealing, but it's also kind of makes it hard to talk about sex in a porn game. Like, it makes it increasingly unlikely that they'd be playing a strip poker game with strangers.
I think
whereas Hilda is the type who probably would find herself doing that. Is the sense I get?
I think that's kind of like the thing, right? It's like if your character wouldn't normally play, I don't know. Like
she's a party girl. She's like Polly, except without the narcotics. She just smokes cock.
Even still, like I think like Hilda being, I think like, sorry, this is a very controversial take. I think if you're making a character that's like never had sex for SPNatI, you have to have like a very good reason for that. That's kind of the end.
Even if the characters never had sex, that doesn't mean they can't have sexual interests.
Yeah. Well, you know, even still, right? Like, I don't know.
But like, my point is, Maya especially is always sort of pestering the tables. Like, do any of you have any experience with men? Can you tell me fucking anything about how these goddamn tubes are supposed to work? Hilda's just like, oh yeah, I've fucked 20 guys every Sunday in a row.
Fucking Giga Chad meme.
Is that like? Anyway.
And it's like it's such a breath of fresh air to target her, and she could just be like, yeah, sometimes the guy just like can't find your clit.
Or it just sucks.
You have to like do it yourself, or he's over in like 2 thrusts, and then he just like kind of rolls over, and he doesn't even try to get me off. It's just like taking notes.
Clockwork Voyeur is like a really good writer, by the way. I hope he continue. I'm looking for Arabi to make her second appearance on the podcast. I really like Hilda.
So this is just this is totally selfish in my own way. Like, I just like this character. That's often how I end up really liking characters, is how much I can interact with them.
I mean, that's
valid.
I just like Hilda for that reason, because she lets me write lines that I don't normally write. It's just like, oh yeah, I just not every guy would know where your clit is because he doesn't have one. So I never thought about it.
Doesn't need it.
And she's just like, oh no, other girls can be selfish too. It's not just a guy thing. Stuff like that.
All right. So our next wonderful character making the main roster is
speaking of lazy and horny and drunk.
Well, the editor of this podcast, who we exalt in his name in all caps, is Reimu. Also, this is the podcast where I talk about my anime convention. So surprisingly underrated waifu. Lots of Ramilias, not so many Reimus, but
like cosplays or just merch.
Cosplays.
By the way, this is this pose is known as as Zero Blunt. I had to do a double take. I thought she was hitting that blunt.
Oh my god!
Turns out she's just being blunt. So Solitaire, if you're listening, please make a shrine offering to Reimu where she can take the edge off. She can get some edibles.
I would really enjoy interaction between like Reimu and Hu Tao, where they just like fucking hit like a third party brings a blunt and they all just like get fucking lit.
Watch as Reimu enjoys these edibles and just takes the day off from sweeping her shrine,
implying that she sweeps the shrine at all
and going around shooting random people. Anyway, she's from this obscure franchise that you may have heard of. It's called Toho. The Angry Video Game Nerd did a series on this.
Did they?
No, but there's a bunch of good YouTube poops that basically do the same thing.
Oh.
Well, this has been a weak anyway. Solitaire. Just cut this out. Just post some Toho clips. Just whatever funniest shit you can find.
I like Reimu. I think I feel like Solitaire runs into the same problem I deal with Marinette, where it's like, this is a character I really like and I really want to do well, but it like kind of inhibits my ability to actually do the job as well as I want to, compared to someone like, I don't know, Leon, where I just like show up, I'm like, yeah, let me just dump fucking lines into this himbo and then call it a day. Like, I'm really excited to have her on the main roster. I really hope between Reimu and Saki and Miko, mostly the first two, Solitaire continues to update them, but she's cool. I really like her. I really want to see more lines from her. I'm going to target the fuck out of her as I go through my like swan song of targeting, but good stuff. Tibo, what are your thoughts?
Hey, speaking of swan song of targeting, can you please implement all that banter we did to Leon?
Oh yeah, of course.
Don't just leave that in the oven.
I want it. I want it on the character. I just am lazy, so we'll do it. It'll get in there someday. Like Marinette's been like in the oven for like 3 years, so it'll happen. Just give me time. Call me Yoko Taro. All right.
But yeah, so Reimu, the biggest thing for me that always is in my head is, and you guys might disagree, but when I first heard Solly was doing that full generic rework, like a little bit after Reimu hit main, I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I need to redo like all of the generics. And I'm like, I looked back to like the game I just played with her before he said that. I'm like, really? Because I didn't see many personal problems. I actually really liked Reimu when I first played her, but I will say the new lines I do love more. But like a beforehand type deal, I still didn't see much of the problem that required a full generic rework. But props to him for sticking through with it and actually doing it. That is a shit ton of work that I'm not sure even I would be able to go through. For like
my understanding, the basic problem he had was that he took one character trait of like wanting to get married and it basically just kicked it into overdrive, and all of her lines became about that.
See, maybe that's why it didn't bother me, because that's one of the parts I really like about Reimu.
See, that's the thing that a lot of like good writers can run into, is that you sort of get this idea in your head, you run with it, and then you end up with a bunch of lines that don't fit the character, but to the unfamiliar observer, they're not bad lines. They're just not what they should be saying. But the lines themselves are fine.
I think this is like kind of a problem with like playing SPNatI versus writing SPNatI, is like when you're writing it, you get like way more obsessed than the people who are playing it. Unless like you're one of those people that's just like, I have to collect TC naughty points. Oh, you have a typo here. Oh, it's like you do a valuable service. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's kind of okay to like just add things and leave the garbage in there too. Like I'm of the opinion that like more is better than less, even if the less is better.
Yeah, and I can kind of see that. Like the only time I've ever actually outright deleted lines was when I tried to like put some more of like world building and lore into Misfortune, and it just came out the most forced, uncharacteristic bullshit came out of her mouth. And I'm like, yeah, these are going. But no, like even before and after the generic rework, I just really liked Reimu. I guess I didn't know the issue because the exact thing he thought was too much. That's like my favorite part. I love the coming here to find a wife or husband type deal. I don't know. I don't think
I love Reimu. Reimu's great, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a little drunk. Not even gremlin, just a little drunk shit. But the good kind.
Drunk yet,
but come after the game, she will be.
I really want to see like Reimu and Hu Tao like hitting a blunt from they've stolen from a third party.
Polly.
This story,
Probably.
This situation of like guy makes his ultra super omega waifu never inseparable, and then turns out that she's wrong, and you got to fix all their lines. I've been living out the 5-year version of that shit. So like I'm still in the midst of this generic rework that I started years ago because shit keeps getting in the way. But yeah, so I feel you, man, and good on you for spotting it early. Because I don't know, none of us really knew how Reimu was written because we're not ultra turbo weebs who play Toho. I only know about it because of the AVGN YouTube poops. That was enough information for me. It's just like Silver Surfer. You just die in one hit from everything. But yeah, like mad respect for like seeing the problem and addressing it right away and actually managing to be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna fix this. And she's gonna. I don't know if you have like any epilogues planned or any, because normally that's, or like any other bonus content, because you did that with Saki, you did that with. Well, you gave her 2 epilogues, which I guess kind of delayed her own progress as well. But yeah, it's. I think Reimu's come together really nicely, and I know he's got some stuff planned because apparently he really wants to marry Maya. I'm not really sure why she's latched on to her. I guess it's because she figures Maya will take care of her, which she will not.
I think.
And will drink with her, which she will not.
I think Maya, Hu Tao, and Barbara are kind of on that list. So I don't know. I think some I think there's like a lot of really cute opportunities you could do with these various characters. I also think like Viz is kind of trying to like pioneer the like decomplexified, shall we say, epilogues. I think that would be great. I think it'd be great to just simplify epilogues again. But speaking of simplifying things, while also adding a lot of value,
the whole like advanced animation system was kind of a blessing and a curse because it radically limited what you could do with an epilogue, but it also meant that nobody wanted to do it.
Well, it's I think it's kind of like damnation by faint praise. Like any epilogue I can possibly create by virtue of me being like lazy as fuck is compared to thing that like other people have been able to create. I'm not saying that's like their fault. Like I think it's like great, go your power level is maximum, Broly. Keep going. Speaking of power level being maximum, our next art update is Ryuji. Like, and I just want to say, like, damn, nice.
What the fuck does that have to do with power levels?
It has dick to do with power levels, but
is it because he's the great Cornholio?
He is. I think like Ryuji constantly gets art updates and it's constantly for the better. It's also like having targeted the fuck out of Ryuji with Futaba. And like I think at one point like Futaba just like religiously ships Ryuji with Shimakaze. Like what an artifact of a different time of SPNatI. I really hope there's an Anne rework someday. But good update.
Well, there was supposed to be like 5. They never really got off the ground.
Well done, if I may. Well done, if I may. I'm really happy that If I May is doing all percent characters. Good job.
How many does he have under his name now?
All of them. He has everyone except Anne, I think. So he has Futaba, he has Ryuji, he has Yusuke. Yes, I don't think he has.
So wouldn't doubt that he's on Anne soon. I wouldn't doubt it.
Anne's a good character. But anyway.
I don't know how he juggles all this shit, man.
I was about to say
is enough for me. Like,
I was about to say he's one of those creators that has way too many.
I mean, if you're in the same genre, it's good. But I like Ryuji. Ryuji's cool. Good job, dude.
One thing I really want to say about Ryuji that you'd only really know if you paid attention to the progress of the art update in the community server. Props to anyone who understands what the fuck pipelines are.
Dude, pipelines are.
I gotta figure that out.
Dude, I've gotten into pipelines lately. It's not as complex as you think it is, but it's also very, very complicated.
Like I watched a lot of the updates about like trying to get the pants to look right, and then even the design, like the design on this shirt, that's all pipeline work. And I remember like stuff was having trouble overlaying, and I'm sitting here watching it like, I don't fucking get it. Like, so props to anyone who works with them, and like the amount of pipelines that go into that model specifically, like, jeez, I don't understand how people could push through with it. I'll just stick with my knowledge of the like animations.
I'm gonna just die when it's time to like do Marinette's like complete artwork rework, which is soon. TM.
Oh yeah, it's gonna need plenty of pipelines, ain't it?
Oh yeah.
I've come to terms with like over the years how limited my skill set in SPNatI has become and how much shit I have to learn because all this new stuff keeps coming out.
I think pipelines is gonna take the longest for me to finally buck up and get to. Like, it just looks so fucking weird to me and not my style at all.
It's less difficult than you think it is. It's also kind of like, it's a process. But anyway, Ryuji's art update is really good. Any kind of concrete thoughts from the team?
This is like what, like his 4th model?
Oh my god, yeah! When I was trying to
get this boy to look right. There was like the original, like Mom Said It's My Turn on the Xbox, like Alien Ryuji.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time recently, trying to find like the model before this art update. I'm like, this existed. Holy shit!
Not for long. He quickly became Beavis Ryuji.
I'm really glad that like Thursdays stuck through it, because Thursdays is probably arguably one of the best Kisuke artists in the world now. Like Thursdays is very, 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 very good at what she does.
Mm-hmm. Thursday managed to make me horny for a random cat character from, what is it called? Nyan Nyan Sugar Girls or whatever it's called. That Kaneko does things to me.
What?
I know you want to care much about it because April Fools, but it was
doesn't exist to me.
Yeah, but all you need to know is the model. Like, I'll send a picture of her. It is just a generic kind, not even generic. It's just like a kind of basic cat girl look. But to me, I saw that for the first time, and I just was like, oh my god! Like it awoken something.
Awoken it. Okay. SPNatI, any thoughts on Ryuji?
I was basically saying them before about how this lad's come a long way, and it seems like with every advance in technology or in skill, he gets a new coat of paint, and he looks better than ever. Finally, he's got the plaid pants. Those were a pipe dream back in 2018, because you'd have to like literally painstakingly make like rectangular belts go across his legs for every single pose.
Oh, you're giving me PTSD.
And now it's just a pattern you can apply with character editor magic, which, by the way, the character editor has getting some other cool stuff under the hood that just came in. I'll probably talk about that next time. But yeah, things are moving and shaking in SPNatI.
Hell yeah.
Not just on the surface.
Speaking of moving and shaking below ground.
Even the collaborative dialogue guide that I put out in the past month.
Oh yeah, that shit's been fucking sick.
Go add comments to it.
So
that's my lasting legacy in case Maya gets copyright claimed, which will never happen.
So speaking of moving and shaking below ground like a zombie, Sakura, aka Number One, aka Cool Cat's wife, aka Napsu's third project, is recently got an art update by Beta 69, Lord of Redoing Things. Yeah, it's
AKA
really cute.
Truck Coon's bottom bitch.
Truck Coon's bottom bitch she's super cute. I liked her before. The update makes her like even better. Tibo, over to you, bro.
Yeah, so my biggest takeaway, like the thing that I was the most happy with the update, and it's pretty prominent from like when I worked on Misfortune, that I love expressive posing. I love the wild, zany shit that can happen, just like, especially facial expressions when they're just cartoony, exaggerated. Just, you really tell what emotion it's going for.
It is really good at this.
This new Sakura art update, the expressions and the pose work, I fell in love with almost instantly. And like, there's just so many that I looked and I got a good chuckle out of. And there's some I looked at, I'm like, okay, that probably was a bitch to actually get to look right, so major respect. And the little bit I do know about the source, that kind of zaniness really fits her. I only watched like half the first season, so my knowledge still is a bit slim on Zombieland Saga, which is a shame, being a monster fucker I am.
It's a good show.
Honestly, all around, like, it's just a really good glow up of a model. Even like the clothing, which I thought the old clothing wasn't really that bad, but they still managed to touch it up in little ways that just make it just that little bit more pop, a little bit more oomph that it needed.
Not to denigrate the overall effort that was put into the posing and the expressiveness, but like, I like how at a glance, like, really what this art update did was just change her proportions from 2018 to 2022.
4 years is a long time.
It just made her head smaller and her legs longer. As in proper fucking proportions and not weird Kisake, like K-on, chibi gremlin shit. It just made her head as big as it should have been in the first place. I like how that's all we need to do to just like vastly upgrade a character's look these days.
The Kisakeification. It's like the new bimbofication method.
Really, the only reason we need Kisuke is because we can't draw legs and like anime eyes. Everything else is just manually constructed.
Man, I really like the Rayla and Jackie scheming because it's like I can totally see like in a '90s dub, it's just like Jackie instead of Sakura. Sorry, this is a reference to a GIF that Solitaire has just posted in the chat, which he might edit out of this. Who knows?
Yeah, anyway, I don't know what those characters are.
I don't know. Like, it's like the idea of like it's never like you know. Okay, like I'm gonna use Digimon.
Is it just like random captions that like 14-year-olds post on?
No,
Twitter,
it's like okay. So do you ever watch Digimon?
No.
Well, then this example falls like flat on its face. Long story short, in like the 90s, 2000s, whenever anything was dubbed outside of like Japan, what happened is they would Americanize the names, and then they would take those American names and re-engineer them inside of like the country they were localized for.
Oh, like Joey Wheeler.
Yeah, exactly, like Joey Wheeler. So it's like instead of it being like Sakura and Saki, it would be like Jackie and Rayla or something like something like that, right?
Wait, is Joey Wheeler the original or the Americanized?
No, Jonoichi is the original.
Oh, Jesus, really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know they even Americanized the names. All I know about America and Yu-Gi-Oh is that America fucking McBurger dude that I see pictures of.
Dude, I fucking love American McBurger. He's so cool. Bandit Keith. His name is Bandit Keith, and yeah, whatever. Anyway, moral of the story.
This is a sleepy ass episode. We just cannot stay on a consistent train of thought.
All right, so speaking of our new characters, all right, SPNanon.
They hit a young Japanese schoolgirl with their truck.
Oh, then they're doing a blessing. they're bringing it to a new world.
Oh my wow!
This is the brave. This is the non-cowardly way to do a dead girl. Okay, Omari, are you listening? Are you listening, Omori? Instead of doing the posthumous character, you just dig her up, and then you give her some makeup, and it's like, hey, I'll just fuck you anyway, and give you a wonderful singing voice.
Hell yeah.
Well,
is that the difference? Is that the difference between Western and Eastern?
Sure.
Properties is that Western is like this deep psychological trauma about this posthumous character, and the Japanese show is just like, hey, there's this zombie girl, you want to fuck her?
They have never been afraid of monster fucking over there. They are all for monster fucking.
All right, Solitaire. I hope you can carve something out of this fucking chunk of marble that we've laid down at your feet.
He's gonna need a drink.
Courageous was the word I was looking for. This is the courageous way to do a dead girl.
What was the word you used?
Make it seem like I was smarter than I was, and I can find words quicker.
But edited in very botched, like it clips halfway through the word.
I really hope he listens and that he does all of this editing that I'm asking of him. Otherwise, this is going to look like quite the fine, polished product.
He doesn't even touch the video. He just gets the files and uploads them directly. No editing.
Just raw.
All the viewers just had to sit there through like the 4 minutes of silence as we all went and did our things.
Okay, so moving into testing, we have a character who had her own fair share of reworks and art tweaks, and right now we have a little bit of both. See, there's two kinds of new players to Strip Poker Night at the Inventory. There's the people that pick all the Doki Doki Literature Club girls, and then there's the people that pick all the Ruby girls, and that's it. Those are the only two. Nobody else exists. And here we have Blake Belladonna of the latter category, who has been through quite a few art updates and authors. Some proposed, some pushed forth without the proper authorization, just because the mods assumed that the writer did the art, even though he didn't, and he fucked up her model. So New model, new dialogue, all new file in general and folder. It's not Blake, but Blake Belladonna. So, BuddyTibo, what do you think of the new and improved Blake Belladonna from Ruby?
So I was a big Ruby fan back in volume 4 or 5 era, and then I really fell out of it. So
back when everyone was a Ruby fan, and then
exactly
nobody liked it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like the volume 3 was peak Ruby, but so I can kind of appreciate the fact that this feels more like the Blake that I enjoyed than the Blake, like the new Blake, which don't get me wrong, new Blake is still decent. I don't know a lot in new Blake, but I just sensed a lot of the characters are changing in just ways that didn't feel like the character that was originally was planned for the series. So this version of Blake that I always mess up names. It's Vine, right? Vine Royal that did Blake.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Vine did a really good job with nailing like the part of Blake that I like, and that might just be personal. The only mistakes I kind of like could instantly pick out on my end was there's a few points where like she was a lot more depressive and revealing than I expected at certain points. Mostly in the early stages. It kind of faded away later on. I don't know, there were certain parts where it was just that little shift off from what I was expecting, which maybe that's just stuff I don't know about Blake from later on. But it just was a little bit of an off part. She has one of my top tropes, which is gay panic. At times. That's just like a really I saw a few moments that happened and I'm like, haha, perfect screenshot opportunity. These types of lines are the ones that like make for some of the funniest generic lineups, and it works for her. And it's just that was a thing I always like to see. And like I said earlier, simultaneously like really in character with just the little parts off that I can't fully pinpoint. Art-wise, my biggest issue art-wise is the hair is a bit too dark to the point where it's almost feeling Vanta blackish, where it's blending in with anything near it that is also any shade of black. You can't see any like outlines of the hair. It basically becomes one with her scarf. And I think
it looks a lot bluer in this GIF.
Yeah, and her hair definitely lightened up in the series, but like even if her hair was just pure Vanta black in source, I would still say just for the way art looks in a 2D system compared to a 3D system, you don't want to go Vanta black just because it's gonna become a conglomerate a big mess of the same color almost, because your eyes are just gonna merge anything that's close to it. And I also really like the book poses. It's a simple touch, but I do like it, and I didn't notice until Vine pointed out to me when I was talking with them. There's two different book poses that signify whether it's a normal book or like smut. there's one that's like a if she's reading the smut part of her book, which I found quite amusing. That's most of my thoughts.
I have been targeting Blake in her various incarnations for a very long time. This is my favorite version of it, in that she responds and isn't super like trying to fill. Yeah, I mean,
since she responds,
Or just stop talking there.
I think the new Blake is really good. I think Peasant like definitely got through a lot of the early jitters of character writing with Miki. I don't know very much about Miki. I've said that much on the podcast where she was in. I really appreciate his approach to Blake. I think it's very strong. I think the character voice is very clear. I think Blake offers something very different than what we've seen in SPNAG before, Blake Belladonna. And I really enjoy targeting her. I think this is really great, and I hope he continues to write her with the same level of finesse. I hope he reaches out and starts initiating targets to other people. But she's great. Like, she's a cool goth chick, with personality and some things to talk about. I don't really have a lot of critique here, other than just definitely listen to Tibo's commentary and just keep pushing with her. I think this is got some gold to it. Good stuff.
You know this character from Ruby better than I do. Is she supposed to be like stoic or just shy?
100% stoic. Like one of her first interactions with Ruby is at like they're all sleeping in the main canteen area, and Ruby's trying to like be like, oh, what you reading? And she's the whole time Blake is basically like, she'll kind of mention what it is, and then the instant she realizes Ruby has no idea what she's talking about, she just wants Ruby to shut the fuck up, basically. Like, in the beginning, she's a very much reclusive, like, nose to book, not too interested in social interaction type of person at the start. And she opens up more as the series goes on, as most arcs would.
See, that's what I didn't get. I didn't get a stoic girl out of my playtest. I got shy. I got bookworm. Always reading smut, like she's like Lot or something. Always reading the smut and thinking about how horny everyone else is making her, and being afraid to vocalize it. I didn't get much stoic, and I think one of the reasons for that is how heavily she utilizes one of my biggest pet peeves, which is parenthetical inner thoughts. Lazy writing, don't like him. Does she do that in the source at all? Does she think to herself? Can you hear it?
It's not really a common thing in Ruby, no. Not much inner thought, I wouldn't say. I mean, other than for gags.
That's a shame. It's lazy. It's lazy. It's obvious. It's like for a stoic girl to like tell me her explicitly what her thoughts are is like telling me this long elaborate joke, and every so often just making sure I know what the punchline is before you say it. Just having no faith in me as the reader to get that she is feeling more than she is explicitly saying.
I don't know if I'd characterize her. I don't know if I would characterize her like as stoic. She's like a goth chick is like the takeaway. So it's like, I think there's an element of that to it, but I'll defend that. I'll say like, hey, there's a lot of cool stuff going on with Blake. I think this is the best interpretation of her that SPNATI's ever seen. That being said,
I think there was some cool stuff there, and it's undercut by
feeling
me to like literally tell me how she's feeling. Like it's a violation of show don't tell.
I think that there is a good room for her with characters like Maya to have her be the more expressive, and I think there's room with her for not like Maya to be the less expressive. And I think Blake splits that difference fairly well, and I hope she continues to do that. That's all I gotta say.
There's I'm gonna list off a bunch of other either nitpicks or like general criticisms, because I don't think she was bad.
Yeah, go for it.
But there are a variety of things. So the inner thoughts was the big thing. I just think that's 100% not necessary, and that's just there's always another way to express that. Don't just undercut yourself. Like, don't undercut the character's disposition by telling me what they really think. But there's like a lot of her lines that didn't use inner thoughts were kind of boring, kind of literal, or like saying what was going on, which I think that kind of goes back to using inner thoughts as a bit of a crutch. She did a bit of a lore dump on her strips, talking about stuff like she was describing who she was and
lore dump and hand lines, by the way. Everyone, by the way, lore dump and hand lines. Don't do it during the stripping phases. We want to see the boobies.
just don't lore dump in general. Like, you have all this useful, interesting information. Just lay it out in pieces. Like fucking a good book doesn't list all the clear-cut information about the story. Like chapter 1, fucking. I know Harry Potter isn't well respected anymore, but imagine if Hagrid just like sat down in the little cottage and like for 3 chapters, just like, okay, Harry, let me lay down all this shit for you. So we're gonna go to
not a fan of Iron Rand novels.
We're gonna get gold from goblins, and then we're gonna go get the Sorcerer's Stone. By the way, here's what the Sorcerer's Stone is. Then we're gonna meet Dumbledore, and like here's all the houses, and it's like spread that shit out. So I'm like interested. Don't say it all at once. Mention one friend at a time, just as it comes up naturally. So yeah, there were some stilted lines in there. Often because of like sort of poor comma usage or like typos, where the line itself could use a little more punctuation, a little more emphasis, a little more emotion. And although the art is definitely an improvement, because you got the proportions changes. She doesn't have massive fuck off titties anymore. She's got long legs. Love to see it. Small.
You do.
But as always, custom stripping would go a long way. Right now, she has really simple stripping poses. No after stripping. She sits in a chair. That's becoming a big thing. But there's no transition into it. Just stuff like that. Also, the reading poses are a nice touch, but you can kind of see the aliasing on the book if you zoom in. Which I noticed especially because I was playing a game with Ringo, and Ringo had she has a very clearly HD book that she pulls out all the time, and this you can tell is an import. Anyway, long story short, give me my stoic girl. Tighten up those thoughts. Get rid of them. You don't need them.
I still miss Penny. That was the one when I saw Blake come back as well. Was I still miss Penny? She was so much fun.
I still think that niche of android girl is not really fully explored. No one's really dove into the deep end there.
Agreed.
Okay, so moving on from a girl with cat ears to a guy with a furry friend. Also, he lives in Ukraine, so I'm gonna avoid the current state of affairs and instead make a Chernobyl joke. That's something we can all get behind. We're all familiar with Chernobyl and our favorite friend Anatoly Dyatlov. Here we have another Anatoly from Ukraine. And if he visits Chernobyl, he himself may grow some squirrel ears. He'll be a faunus just like Blake. And if you thought Ukraine knew any end of suffering, apparently this dude is from a game where his friends fucking kill and eat him.
What the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
I knew the source had some fucky shit.
Yeah. As usual,
what's with
this
this cast and characters who are dead? This is our third character who's dead then. Oh no. You know what? Knowing Ruby, they might. Who knows? They might just kill off a main character just for shock value.
But that's what is it? Are these just random Western dating sim flash Steam games, whatever that people keep making that are all it's got Omori and cooking companions, and it's can't anyone just have a nice time? They either have to be dead or killed over the course of the story, and it's why can't anyone just have a nice time with their friends and not get fucking cannibalized? I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Anyway, here he is with his squirrely friend. It's Anatoly. He's gay. This bitch can't read. What a hard life he's lived.
Oh my god.
In post Cold War Ukraine, he can't read. He makes friends with a squirrel, and he gets killed and eaten. God.
Living the
Evo,
troll.
what are your
Give him a
thoughts?
better ending.
What are your thoughts, Anatoly?
I want to start off, I want to preface by saying I am so sorry about all of this shit that happened because Ahri came the day after Anatoly. because the poor fucker got paired with only Ahri so many times, and I got so many reports of Ahri just coming on as hard as she can to a gay man. Like, she would send these, like, she would flirt so hard with him, and he's just like, ma'am, I am gay. So...
Oh, yeah. But why are you gay?
But why are you gay? Who says I'm gay? You are gay. Fucking, honestly, I know it's not a niche for everyone, but it is very nice to finally, like, kind of, the game's kind of getting a bit more open, that we have, like, other than April Fools, have we had actual full-on gay dudes yet in SPNatI?
No.
No? Okay, that's what I thought. I want to make sure I didn't just casually forget someone and overwrite someone in my mind before I said that.
I mean, I could be overriding them, but you blame me for that, not yourself.
But, like...
Callie, where are his penis appearance tags? We do not know if he is circumcised or uncircumcised. Also, Hex. Shame. Where is your work, my buddy? Anyway.
But, like, it's nice to get an actual gay dude in SPNatI. Like I said, it's not everyone's type of
We've never had one.
We have not, for sure, not had one other than Gay Spaghetti Chef, which is April Fools.
I love Gay Spaghetti Chef, though.
First ever gay, definitely.
Gotcha.
Gay Spaghetti Chef sprinted so that Anatoly could walk.
No.
Gay Spaghetti Chef masturbated, and you could say that he's still masturbating today.
I really respect Callie for actually sticking through with it. Despite, like, I know I'd get discouraged if I know it's going to be a very niche, small demographic I'm hitting. But Callie stuck through, made a decently, like, an actually pretty decent character from what I read. From what I played, because, like, they did a good job of incorporating the fact that English is not his first language without getting, like, annoyingly incorrect with his grammar. I like the little Pasca. I think its name is Pasca. I like Pasca's inclusion, even though it's nothing big. It's just a nice little extra, something to recognize the character with. The art, it's like simple design choices that just really make it nice. Especially the shirt. Like, the one thing that always catches my eye, it's such a simple thing, but as someone who worked on Twisted Fate, the way his shirt kind of just, like, folds over his belt, like over his pants, is just like a nice little artistic touch that gives a little bit of flair. The belt, though, does need a little bit of work. It's very outlineless. It just looks flat color with no distinctness to it. Dialogue wise, I don't really have much complaints, actually. I genuinely enjoyed the character, and a few gay brain cells in my mind just went, "Ooh, yeah, that's, you know what, dick." Like, that's a lot of my thoughts there.
My thoughts are concrete. I respect the work that went into this. There's nothing really here for me, and that's okay. And I will pass to spnanon. Like what I'm saying is, like, I think Anatoly is
taking a brave stand as straight men in this Discord server.
Oh my god, no! I mean, I think, like, I think Anatoly is, like, I'm just not qualified to comment on Anatoly in a way that I am with other characters, where it's like there's just very little here for me, and that's okay. Not everything is here for me, and I really, really hope that he does well. I think he's an interesting character. I think there's a lot of detail here that is likely very, very appealing to the niche that he's supposed to appeal to, and I think there's something great about that. Like, the thing I want to be most emphatic about is, like,
South boy.
Well, like, and this is like the thing I've been saying for, like, probably 2 years on this podcast. Like, your goal with any character you create is not to be okay to a lot of people. It's to be amazing towards, like, a very specific group. And I think Anatoly does that. It just happens to be a group that I'm not a part of. And that's okay. Like, if you're a gay dude and you really like Anatoly and you really like Anatoly, congratulations, Callie. You done it. You succeeded. But just like as a guy who's not that into gay dudes, it's sort of hard to enjoy it. But I kind of think that's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be, not all characters need to be for all people. And I think just if you like Anatoly, please send positive regard his way. There's room for more characters like this, and the more you encourage it, the more there will be. And that's all I really got to say is I like Anatoly. I think he's a good addition to the game. He's just not for me. It's like if I were allergic to chocolate and someone's like, here's this delicious chocolate cake, I'd be like, okay, that's a delicious chocolate cake. It's not for me. That's okay. People really like chocolate. Good job, Callie. That's all I got to say.
I made a joke about Chernobyl and Anatoly Dyatlov, but really the more appropriate reference is the Dyatlov Pass incident, where a bunch of Russian college students or whatever were trapped in the Dyatlov Pass in an avalanche, and they all ended up dying or eating each other.
Jesus.
I'm not sure if they ate each other. They might have all just frozen to death. I think they had quick deaths, but still. The point is that whole region is it's not a fun time. So I have some thoughts. Anatoly has some endearing character traits, like his attempts to come off as intelligent when he can't even read the cards. There's a lot to, and his constant appeals for vegetarian options in everyone's diets. It's just basic stuff like that you can latch onto. I think just gives you a little bit of a niche, conversation wise, as far as the character goes on a table. I think you could do a little bit more with Pasca's presence, the squirrel. Pasca. For example, he sometimes addressed Pasca without looking at her. And in general, he could use, the two of them could use more variety in terms of poses with how they interact. Because the way they were interacting with each other didn't always match the pose. That was something I did a lot with Ryuko to make sure that she had a proper pose for being happy talking to Senketsu or being annoyed with him. And that's something they don't quite have yet. Pasca also leaves partway through, and there's no real payoff for that. It's not like a Shimakaze where Ren Soho-chan comes back later, for instance. As far as I can tell, Pasca just doesn't come back.
Yeah, no, Pasca just
fucks off. I don't know why. Probably because she's a little bit squirrely. But
I think Callie also just didn't want to squirrel with a naked dude.
Didn't want to get ball rabies.
Rabies, if he would.
He talks about his friends a lot, often out of nowhere. That's sort of some of the first lines you write to expand the character. It's I'll have them mention his friends, which I feel a little awkward about, considering apparently his friends eat him. So I guess they're not really that good of friends, and it kind of seems like he's being taken advantage of. Let's see. He got he's very spacey. He's always talking about something other than what's going on in the game, which doesn't let me learn a lot about him. But even late into the game, it was still happening. He only got sort of intense and sexual at the very, very end. I'm sure he didn't have a lot to work with because I put him with a bunch of girls. But
that's the sad life and Anatoly stuck in.
Generally, he was just kind of bored with girls. There were some attempts for him to make conversation. He didn't just totally shut down their presence, which is good when the majority of the cast is other girls. Yeah, I think there's a strong foundation here. You just need to explore all these things a little bit more. And for instance, not being able to read. That's kind of funny. Maybe he should bond with Pitt. I can only imagine his response to Komi-san. and the communication breakdown there. But
oh dear God.
yeah, unless you have any other thoughts, kind of what you were saying before about how Ahri just goes super hard in on the flirting. It's like, oh, I just want you to pump me full of your cum, and I'll bang it, slam it on the table, and fuck me in the ass up against the wall, and blow your load down my throat. And he's just like, ma'am, ma'am, even I can read your intentions.
Fucking, and the funniest shit
And
is
I
we
don't
were
bat
complaining
for that
about.
team.
We were talking about that in Ari's dev channel, and then someone proceeded to make like someone right after we were talking about that. Someone reported with a table that had Ahri, Anatoly, and then Mary was added into the mix. Amori Mary.
Oh God.
And we at first thought it was Mary, the succubus, and we were laughing because none of them get what they want. There's a gay man, a straight woman, and a bi woman.
They're both succubi.
And it's like, wow, no one gets anything at this table.
It's like this man being fucking showered in, like, I don't know, winning lottery tickets.
Did
But it's
Anatoly
like-
just get? Did he get put in a harem anime that he did not want at all?
He's getting showered in like all these prime cuts of meat, and he's a vegetarian. Well, I think it's time to transition into that very character, Ahri, the magical kitsune from League of Legends. She's got 9 tails, and she wants to wrap all of them around you.
Hell yeah!
BuddyTibo, this is your character. This is your project, Ahri from League of Legends. Can you go ahead and explain why you made her and where you want to take her and what your thoughts are?
Yeah. So the original reason I added Ahri to SPNatI in particular was so Ahri was like very much a character. She was an original character of League, one of the first, and her personality and character has changed a lot over the years. She used to be like your typical succubus character. And just your horny succubus. I'm gonna suck your dick and kill you. Yeah, that's changed a lot. There's actual character behind it now. With like, she's the last of her race, which is the Vasani. She finds out her abilities more like
the bottled water, the Sani.
No, Vesani, the V. She found out her abilities more of like emotion manipulation to the point where she can actually like there's one or two poses where she has that orb that is like a battery that can store emotion, like literal emotion as an energy source, shit like that. I need to bring that up a bit more in her character too. So my goal was kind of like to show, yes, she can be the horny character that a lot of people know her for, which I have in plenty in her dialogue, but there's also more of a character behind it, which I want to bring out a bit more. Where I plan to go with her right now is I have a big target update on hold. I know someone here is growling until I get it out there.
Who could that be? Give me your fucking target alliance.
After that, I also need to do like all of her forfeit posing is very much placeholders. None of them are really meant to be set in stone yet. I have like a whole batch of expressions from the wonderful man who made the Ahri model. Just kidding. He made like a solid 18, 19 expressions that literally I just sent him a cropped hentai of Ahri and said, hey, can you make this in Kisake? And he's like, fuck yeah. And I'm like, let's go. So yeah, I have plenty planned. And then after that target update and the posing update, that's when I plan to send her for sponsorship and kind of go from what I get from there. And just one little note before the feedback on her comes out. I want to say one thing I really fucking learned. This, in nature, this game is a very sexual game, obviously. I went through a whole period where I'm like, damn, am I making her too horny? Am I just making her the character that I wanted people to think she wasn't? Don't get too worried about that.
No, just think it's fine.
Yeah, like don't get too much in your head. I know some others do, but Just let it happen, really. That's the biggest thing. Don't get too much in your own head, really. You may now lay it into me.
Well, that's exactly what Ahri invites me to do.
Exactly.
And I want to come in Ahri's butt, but yeah, she's great. A+ character, no real criticism. Keep writing her. Don't stop. Good stuff. I wish I could have more things that are like impactful. Like, this is what you could do character, but I really don't. She's incredibly.
Is this why you and I make a good team? The MASP is I like the butt, and you like butt stuff.
Exactly. It's also because like I'm incapable of being negative about things unless they're really bad. And long story short, I really like Ahri. I think she's really great. I very much enjoy her, and I very much hope to see her continuing to develop. I think she's incredibly solid where she is. I would love to see more of it, but that's all I got. Ryu, spnanon. Keep going.
So, love the art. Love everything about it. Love her butt.
That's no word there.
As you might expect. I love like just the use of her tails, the creative use of her tails, all the animations.
Yeah, that's incredibly strong.
Posing, lifting up her butt cheeks. I think there's still like some jank in terms of the art itself. Like I don't think it looks perfect, for instance, in this pose, but just the idea of like lifting up and spreading the cheeks, like you got a great thing going here. And the right character to do it in, because apparently she's horny as fuck. And even like all the little like custom mouths that she has, and those are all fucking custom because Kisuke can't do any of that shit. Just like showing her fangs. Hopefully this one has an example of it. Kind of like with the teeth showing.
Yeah, I can send like a little assortment thing of Ahri faces.
There's tons of them. And they're great. And
I will say a lot of the expressions and model work is done by Just Kidding, and a lot of the posing is done by main account as a Nord. I will not take credit away from them. They deserve that shit.
But she's great. She's great on both ends. Both the face and the sort of the ass and the tail. Good stuff. I will say her boobs don't look quite right.
She has big old titties though.
They look kind of fake. I don't know. It's like there's like a weird line weight where like the bottom outlines don't go all the way. And she's got the lines up top, and then you can kind of see if you zoom in, there's like the natural Kisuke outline and then like the extra outline that you added, and you can kind of see both of them.
Yeah.
It looks like a frayed line.
That was a fucky on my part. Somehow the fucking setting reset itself when I was importing the poses. But that's all going to be redone anyways, because Hex pointed out that what I have her breast at right now is considered medium.
It seems like you had like two different ideas for what you wanted to do with her boobs, and you put both of them in.
Yeah. So like it's gonna get a full, like there's gonna be a full titty rework coming her way to kind of A, to make them look better, and to B, to knock her back up to large, which is what I originally wanted to plan. And then Hex is like, right now, this has to be considered medium tax-wise. So, like, her dialogue's kind of fucky, because her dialogue is based on if she was categorized large. So, like, that's a fix that's going to come with the forfeit posing rework.
So, writing-wise, let's see. Oh, well, let me make one more art thing. This heart that she makes all the time, I think it's a little too transparent. It always makes me think that she's just like got like a wisp of smoke or something. It takes me a second to realize it's a heart. But let's talk about writing. Writing wise, so she is horny as fuck. I don't really know if that's appropriate or not, but again, like I said with Mari, it's if that's the direction you're gonna go in, probably better to go too much than too little. Whereas, like, Twisted Fate was kind of suave, and Misfortune was a living meme. This seems to be your foray into extreme horny.
Yeah,
and I think you're getting there, but you're not quite there yet. Part of the problem is that she just has a lot of like little typos here and there, a lot of like misused commas, and that kills my boner.
Yeah, I'm known for that.
I hate to break it to you, but if there's any kind of punctuation error, that just I'm sorry, that just like removes my mental image of like that just takes me out of it, because now it's not a cute Vasani girl talking and flirting with me. That's dude hunched over a keyboard, sweating and missing a comma.
Ouch, but fair.
I hate to break it to you. I can see your beard in her lack of commas.
That's a dirty shot, man, because when you called out Twisted Fate, you're like, no one rocks the Amish beard, and I'm sitting here like, damn, man. I'm stuck with the Amish beard.
It's just I'm sorry, but if it takes a proofread, it takes a proofread. But you can't stumble on the horny lines. They gotta be flawless.
You gotta stimulate the SPNatI economy, Get those SPNatI points.
So she's very sexually aggressive, which is good. But you know how like sometimes we criticize characters for like fantasizing about like people that aren't there? Sometimes Ahri talks about the people on her table as if they're not there. It's just like, wouldn't you like to see such and such make out with me, or I'd really like to fuck them, and it's like they're right there. Maybe you should be addressing them or something. And in general,
I think there's ways to like randomly flag that, which is probably a good option.
There's like I think she could really benefit from like less is more. Get some shorter lines.
Oh, by the way, this one's just for you, spnanon. Don't worry, she won't be as dry as a fucking desert after the forfeit rework.
Oh yeah, is she bone dry? Did I mention that?
Yeah, she bone dry.
Yeah, so like just try to make her lines shorter, just less is more, because sometimes like I didn't even know where the lines were going, because they just like kind of rambled and went from one thing to another that she was fantasizing about, and she would really benefit from like tightening up in general. More punctuation, more emphasis, more like little interjections. Like just giving the feeling of like her being breathless as she's masturbating really goes a long way, because it feels insincere when they're flirting, but they're like speaking perfectly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember Beta pointed that out to me, and that's definitely a thing that's come up, but also I've got a lot of feedback, but I just haven't updated Ahri in a while, so.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Just tighten her up, because she seems pretty tight, and I'd like to get in there.
Hell yeah.
nmasp already wanted to come in her butt, so I'll take the front.
Yep. I would double team Ahri. Easy.
That's the way we do things on the podcast. We double team each of these characters.
What am I doing in this situation?
Well, there's one hole left.
You're recording.
Hop on in. Anyway.
You bring your wife before us to be judged. It's like interspecies reviewers.
Oh god, am I being NTR'd right now? Are we relating back to this?
Are you? Anyway.
She's got 3 holes.
She's good.
Triple team.
Ahri is really great.
She's got like 6 tails.
9.
Okay. So unfortunately, I do have to bounce. We have a couple characters left that we'll explore on the next cast. Very quick thoughts on Hilbert, Arueshalae, and Gloria.
Oh, wait, now?
I'd rather just give them some extra.
Yeah, I'd like to give them a full.
All right,
extra time
BuddyTibo. I would agree with that,
episode.
but BuddyTibo, you're on the cast. Go ahead and give your very quick thoughts, and SPNatI and I will go into them in more depth next time.
Oh yeah. I guess my quick thoughts. Hilbert. Not knowing anything about Pokemon, I still liked him. It's kind of funny. Both times I've been on a Pokemon character despite knowing nothing about them. Kind of like SPNanon.
He's basically a Pokemon.
I already got a line from Aquagrunt calling her a Ninetales. He does have a bit of a lore dump in clothing talk, kind of like we talked with Blake. Fucking lore dump into clothing talk, true combo. The posing actually is pretty nice. Overall, the only real art issue I noticed is a bit of a big forehead, especially after the hat comes off when you notice it. for our name I can't say, Arueshalae, the polar opposite of Ahri, like fucking succubi that is way too wholesome for her own good.
I was gonna say they're like very similar characters. They're like,
yeah, but
they
like
both spent their whole lives like taking advantage of people and like basically killing them.
Exactly.
And now they're exploring their sexualities, and it's like Arueshalae is like, oh my god, I can do this and be super wholesome, and it's like, and Ahri's like, wow, I can fuck people without killing them. I'll just fuck all the time.
I find it funny that Ahri's the hornier one, yet Arueshalae is the one with tail fucking, the womb tattoo, and like all of the debaucherous parts of a succubus on the most wholesome character I've seen in a while. Like, and then Ahri's just sitting here, just a horny succubus. And then to finish up my little lightning round I'm going through, Gloria, the fucking accent, amazing, nailed it. Fucking, I didn't think it would actually be funny the whole way through. I was afraid it would start to get a bit like tiresome, but I didn't really get tired of it or like bored of it. I know I just said I liked Hilbert, but like Gloria is the most personality I have seen from a player character in a Pokemon character. Granted, a lot of that's from like the fanon of Gloria, but I see a lot of character and personality in it. And Nord went through a lot of the same things I did with getting too nervous about the horny talk, and then Nord came to the same realization of, why am I getting nervous about how horny my character is when she's masturbating? Like, that shouldn't be a worry. They should get worked into it. So, like, overall, like that's my lightning round of the 3 characters remaining, so I can get some talking before you guys have to close it out.
And don't worry, to the creators of these 3, we will go more into them, or more in depth on them next time on the big 6-0, episode 60. Apparently, we just needed to like burn through episode 59 because Craig's given us issues. We're like falling asleep at the wheel here. It's a bit of a train wreck. nmasp has to leave. I don't know. Maybe Ahri just like cast a spell over all of us, and we're
Ahri's excellent. All right, good games, guys. See you in the next podcast. Please, if you have any comments, by all means, submit them on the Discord or in the chat here on YouTube, and we are more than happy to address them as they come up. See you.
Good work on Ahri, by the way, T-Bone. And I don't doubt that you're going to put a lot of this feedback to good use.
I appreciate it. Can I advertise WNATI real quick while I'm here?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm doing this cool little side project called WNATI, Wrestling Night at the Inventory.
You slut.
It's WWE 2K22 with a bunch of the characters from SPNatI brawling it out. There's going to be an overarching story that's being casted by different people from the SPNatI server. You guys should check it out. It's every Friday. At least I'm going to try and keep it every Friday. That's my little shilling that I got out there. Thank you.
And remember to take a look if you're a newbie and if you're thinking about deving a character, or if you're even you want a refresher and you want some advice on writing. Check out the collaborative dialogue writing guide that I started, and continually updating. Add your comments, add your thoughts, add your feedback. It's about time that we actually collected all of our thoughts on what actually makes good character writing, and not just like vomiting it out at piecemeal to everyone.
Give me my fucking lines, T-Bo.
I'm trying.
All right. Good night, everyone. Have a great night.
This sucks. I really wanted to say how Hilda was cursed because we got Hilda, Hilbert, and Gloria. Fucking character named Hilda, and like 2 other Pokemon characters. One from Gen 5, and we still don't have Booty Shorts Hilda. Can you believe it? But now I got to break up that sentiment over multiple episodes.
Booty, butt cheeks.
nmasp, why do you have to be busy with life?
Because it's, it ain't easy being cheesy, my friend.
All right, zip it up and zip it out. That's the conclusion of a Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast. Forever, we're dead. We're not coming back.
Okay, bye.
Anyway, see you next month.
See you next month. Bye-bye.
This is the final monthly podcast. Final podcast of this month.
It's true. See you in like 2 weeks.
What the fuck is this episode?
Fuck you.